Beautiful day, Patriots. How are you? Let's talk about the Bible for a minute. And as I was saying the last time, we're going to talk about giants. You can see that there is kind of how when things are going, everybody kind of gets into the same rhythm. Pastor Paul Begley, the last. Actually, I saw his video first and then was saying that I was going to do a story on giants here. But he was talking about the big skull that they found down in China of a giant. And there used to be giant skeletons all over the place in museums and all over the world. There's rumor that there's one maybe about 100 miles from me here in Wichita, Nevada. Has a museum in Wichita, Nevada that has a giant, I forget exactly what it is. It's not the full skeleton. It might be just, well, maybe I'll get down there and check it out. But right here in the Bible, it talks about giants. And yet, if you talk to the person across the street, or even another Christian, or just a stranger, and you ask them if they believe in giants are real, they'll say no. And yet, Hollywood, cartoons, nursery rhymes, or movies, just on and on, have stories of giants, but they make it to the point where it's like they ridicule it so that and pretend like it's not real. But here in Genesis, we're still right in Genesis, page 7, chapter 6. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. And the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. Now this either gets very deep and stuff, by reading this, it will teach us many things. It's talking about Noah's time, the beginning of Noah. There were giants. And also after that. So the flood came and destroyed the earth, destroyed all living things, destroyed man, but it did not destroy the giants, and also did not destroy man, because Noah kept the man's lineage alive, correct? But also after that, there are giants. Now, I want to see if I can bring us right back to this, but there's also spots in the Bible that talk about witches and warlocks and many other things. And again, what does Hollywood, music, cartoons, nursery rhymes, children's books, pop culture all do about witchcraft? They try to make it seem like it's not real to the average person. And most people that practice witchcraft do it in the dark, behind closed doors. It's not something that you can go around saying, hey, I'm a witch. Because you're practicing dark, secret, evil stuff. Therefore, you do it so that nobody judges you. Witchcraft. That's why they make fun of it. That's why there's stories about it. What do they say is one of the richest authors? Is because she writes about witches. Just like giants, witches are real, but more importantly, Jesus Christ is real. The Holy Bible explains the story quite well. Now, how can we sit there and pretend, or I don't know why I said pretend, because what I meant to say is, how can we say, is there proof of giants on earth? If we go and look at many, many different things around the world, on every continent, there's these castles that have incredible doorways. Huge, huge doors and hallways. And it's not like once you get into these places that all of a sudden the bedrooms become at a smaller, height. Or that the beds become smaller. There's places all over the world that were built for giants. Most of them have been destroyed, but there's so many of them still all over the world of proof of giants that they can't hide it. And yet we as human beings will sit there and look straight at it and sit there and go, oh, I wonder how that was done. Even though right here in the Bible it says, now if a giant lived in the earth, would they be able to live in a house that was made for the size for you and me? Or would they have buildings all over the world that had 12, 15, 18, 30-foot doors? Look at the cathedrals around the world, the castles around the world, public buildings around the world. You think they make public buildings with 10-foot, 15-foot doors just for looks, aesthetics? They were also here after that. They're here now. Once your eyes are open, you will start to see these absolutely mammoth buildings and doors and structures all over the world. Brand new ones and extremely ancient ones. These rocks that have been put in the pyramid, we could go over, there's a lot of things about the pyramids, but here's these big, huge blocks, and they can't sit there and figure out how it's done. Oh, man used winches and pulleys and ropes and slaves and stuff. Oh, I don't know, maybe that size is just about perfect for a giant to move. Just saying, could be. Could be. So let's talk about the pyramids just for a second, because in here, we've got Moses, who was in Egypt with the pharaohs, with the pyramids. And during the time of Moses and Egypt and the pyramids and witches and warlocks, because that's what Moses had to do, was go up against the Pharaoh and his Pharisees, which were witches. The Bible is not for the faint-hearted. No, not at all, not at all. It's an amazing book of information. The pyramids are real. Pharaoh was real. Moses was real. But that we'll sit there and say the witches that are part of the story are fake. You see how Hollywood and the news and everybody keeps ridiculing it and label it as what, a conspiracy theory? So let's talk about Mike from around the world for just a second at council.com. I can't tell you that all this other stuff, study the Bible, we're at a short period of time. Now Mike around the world on his last, I had to do some catching up. I missed his last 4 or 5 shows, and so he was talking about something happening up in the North Pole. And I've listened to Mike for quite a few years, and there's, he didn't say what it was, but it's possible that this pyramid that we're talking about, that there's one up in the North Pole that will be coming up out of the North Pole, growing, and there's rumors that that it's not rumors to others, to me it is, because I haven't seen it with my own 2 eyes, that it's come up out of the ground before in the past and has disappeared back in. And it's more of a living thing than a rock thing or a structure or anything else. He says there's going to be a big event in the North Pole, and it's just maybe it's going to be this gigantic, large pyramid. Remember, the giants are here. They're going to spin it,